Good evening, Mr. Almanor.
Evening, Dante. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
You look like with the first two here, huh?
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Was it easy for you to get on?
Yes, I just went to the last email you sent you and I click it and I took me right in.
Okay.
Mhm. Actually, I click on the agenda to look at it and there was a link in the agenda. That's the link I like and I was right in.
Okay.
So let's wait for the few to participate. Christian is here.
Christian. All right. Good.
Hey, Christian, how are you?
It's been nearly 6 months since Paul Pelosi, husband of former Speaker Nancy, was attacked with a hammer by an
Oh, I'm
assailant.
sorry, I was on mute. I'm okay, Nicola. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I don't know. I'm a little bit sleep deprived today, but I'm gonna muddle through.
They keep
Just
you
couldn't
busy.
get to sleep last night for some reason.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, went to bed early though, man. I was in bed at 1 o'clock and I said, bye there.
Hey, everybody, it's Warren. Good evening.
Hey, wow, and how are you? Happy New Year. I haven't seen you since
Good
last
evening,
year.
I
Warren.
know, I was just saying, I miss everybody. How are you,
Yeah.
Nick? I'm good. Everything is
I'm
good.
good. Did you go away?
No. As a matter of fact, my kids were both away
Mhm.
and I had nowhere to go.
Well, I've been meaning to reach out to you regarding the merging of the bid. So I don't know. I think you had a seminar in there already. I might have missed.
Yeah,
Is there anything else coming in there? You're gonna report on that
yeah,
today?
how about I discuss it during my report?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Okay, great.
That's perfect. Okay, thank you and good seeing you.
It's a pleasure, always. He is one of my favorites.
And
Miss
as
Francisca
you are mine.
Leopold. How are you, my dear? Hey, Fred, what's going on? How
I'm doing
are you?
okay, thank you.
Okay. You know, I didn't
Hi,
realize that
everyone.
wasn't Fran. I was like, why is Fran so still? He's not moving.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Kyrie.
Hey, Kylie's here too, yeah.
Morning,
And,
everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Hey,
It's not
Kyrie,
morning,
how are
Fred.
you?
It's evening, Fred, not morning.
See, that's why I count on Fran. She keeps me, there you go.
to keep you.
There she- yeah.
I'm having some internet problems, so I'm going to come in on my tablet until I fix my computer.
No worries.
Okay.
I just say, it was shocking and I'm still shocked and processing this attack.
Okay, we're just going to allow for a couple more minutes for people to join, and we're going to begin. Want to make sure. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Madam Secretary, are you prepared to take the minutes?
Listen to him, and again, papers, and he was talking about election fraud and that we must deny.
1 minute, I'm ready when you're ready.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we are calling the meeting to order. The time is now 7:08 p.m. I want to welcome everyone to the Executive Committee meeting of Community Board 9 for January 2023. The first meeting of 2023. I want to welcome everyone. I hope everyone has had a very happy and joyous holiday. I hope everyone is doing well and looking forward to the second half of our year. And it's going to be a very busy agenda as well. Okay, so with that, just for housekeeping items, so if there are any attendees when we reach that portion of the meeting, if you wish to speak, you can use the *6 star 9 function to raise hands, at which point the district office will promote you and you'll be permitted to speak. And that same function will lower your hand. I'm sorry, star 9 will raise and lower your hand. Star 6 will allow you to mute and unmute. Okay, and with that, we are now going to go on to item 2 in the agenda. The second item in the agenda, which is the public commentary. Dante, has anyone signed up for district for public commentary this evening?
No, they have not.
Okay, thank you very much. If there are any participants, if you are an attendee and you wish to participate as part of public commentary, please use that star 9 function at this time, and we'll be able to recognize you and promote you. I see a raised hand.
Okay, give me 1 second.
I thought I saw the hand. Were they promoted or did the hand go down?
Yeah, I'm promoting them,
Okay.
but they have to accept the notification on their screen. It says that the host is wanting to promote to panelists. Okay. Well, until they accept that notification, it's not going to promote them.
Okay, so for the attendee, if you are on right now, please use the raise hand function. Hit star 9 if you did wish to speak for public commentary. Okay, it looks like it might have been an inadvertent hand. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's move on at this point. So if you still wish to speak, please use that star 9 function, raise your hand, and we'll try and the district office team will try and work to get you promoted so you can give your commentary. Okay, so we're going to continue on at this time. Oh, okay, I see you got him in?
I'm sorry, it's my first meeting. I think I was just clicking things inadvertently. I'm very sorry.
Oh, okay, no worries. Okay, did you wish to speak for public commentary or?
It's my first meeting, so I'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put you back in the attendees.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. So we are now going to move on in the agenda. We're going to go to committee check-ins. Let's see, going around the room, only because she's usually last, but this time she shall be first. Ms. Moses, I see you. Happy New Year. Is Ms. Moses on?
Yeah, but I think it froze.
Okay, I see we're still working on it. So let's continue on. I do see the Chair of Health and Social Services, our second Vice Chair. Fran, do you have a report for HSS?
Good evening, everyone. And for those of you that I have been spoken to for the year, I just want to say, wish everyone a happy new year to you and your families. Presently, we are working on, we came together and what we have decided to do, we'll be working with the assembly member as well as the council member, Rita Joseph, and Cunningham. So we are looking to, we agreed to work on 3 areas, the seniors, mental health, and youth. So since we do have a youth committee, we will be touching base with the chair, because there are certain things that we want, programs that we want to, health programs that we want to work with, and we would like to partner with the youth chair to get that going. But we needed to do this from last year or the year before but because of COVID, we didn't push it. So therefore, this is one of the areas, and then we are looking to do a forum for mental health, and then also work with the senior centers. I think there are a few more centers in the community that have started. I'm not too certain if Community Board 9 have a list of those senior centers, but we will be partnering with them again to see if they're getting the services that's needed, and what we can do to help those centers, and so that the seniors in our community. So what we'll be looking for is to get a list of the block associations in the community from the board, so we can connect with the president, so they will help us to get in touch with the seniors in our community. And then also we have different groups. Right now we have subcommittees, I must say subcommittees. So we will be reaching out and calling those centers, and as we did before, you know, when we have our meetings, we'll invite the directors to come in to sit with them. So they in turn will let us know what's happening with the seniors, what are the services that they are getting, what they are not getting, how they would like the board to help them, to work with them. And then we are looking to work with the board on a whole to put a community-wide forum for mental health. And at that meeting, we would like to invite the precinct in to work with us to hear what they have in place when they're meeting with approaching, well, how they know that someone has a mental issue, and you know, vice versa. So we would like them to be there, because we know a lot of issues have been happening with the precinct, and when they're approaching persons, and how they are handling persons with mental issues. So these are the areas we are looking to. It's just we don't want to bombard ourselves, so we are just doing those two: seniors, mental, and the youth. That's it.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? We can take 2 questions for the Chair of Health and Social Services. Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much for your report. And you have no action items in your report at this time, correct?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on. And then for all the chairs, I would just like to say, just, this year, I think, I'm definitely trying to turn over a new leaf and make sure that we are much quicker and much faster tempo. So I'd ask, please make sure you keep your summaries 2 minutes or under. Also, make sure to please make sure you submit all of your reports to the office, so that way they can be printed, distributed in time for the general board meeting. At this time, I will, going around no particular order, I do see the chair of public safety.
Good evening, y'all. Shout out to Fred for making things faster for all of us, taking feedback and implementing it. Appreciate you. I also like the beard, so that's a good look. You should keep it. Dante, I like the mustache. I mean, everybody's looking good today. So
Primo, that's a minute gone.
So a little bit about kind of what's going on with public safety. So first of all, we hosted a fire safety event 2 weekends ago. So Dante and Khalid both came, and then we met the FDNY at Tivoli Towers, and they set up a table in the lobby to talk to folks as they came in and out of the building. And so just excited to be able to, offer that kind of service, or partner with the FDNY in offering that service to the community. That was great. And then we decided not to have a committee meeting this month because we had 0 liquor license applications. So good thing is that we have no kind of action items. What we did do was some work on kind of cannabis licensing. And so I also want to appreciate the office for doing quite a bit of work on that front. And so shout out to Dante and to Mia as well for grabbing a bunch of really great items from OCM, Office of Cannabis Management. We had a member of our committee to go to that meeting, and the the office staff brought back a lot of really great materials, which we then circulated to our committee in lieu of a meeting. And also, we just want a name for this executive committee, and I'm going to fit this in 2 minutes. The Kings County is currently in a legal battle essentially around cannabis management licensing. And so there are no licenses that are being granted to Brooklyn at the moment. However, they did get the application basically parameters, the questions that are being asked, a survey rather, something like that, of applicants in Manhattan. So there is a community board in Manhattan that is already circulating a questionnaire to potential applicants. And so our next meeting will be focused on looking through that questionnaire and trying to come up with our own questionnaire for CB9. And then I'm sure we'll circulate that draft to the rest of the executive committee, and we'll take all the correct necessary steps. But so fire safety event happened, no liquor licenses, going through the process with Office of Cannabis Management. And there's way more that I could say, but we'll get into that later. So those are the highlights. Thanks, Fred.
No, thank you very much for that. And for your timely report, your very timely report. And thank you, and I also wanted to recognize board member Rashida Siddiqui, who actually CM. And if this is very important because this is going to be a very big issue. I'm going to discuss it a little bit as part of my chair's report as well. But thank you and the committee for and the district office for all the work that's being done. All right, we can take 2 questions for the chair of public safety.
It's Warren. I have a question.
Yep.
Primo. Hi, Primo. How are you?
Hi, Warren. I'm doing well, thanks.
Is the process for approving a cannabis shop similar to approving a liquor license? Are we involved in that?
What I'll say is, yes, we are involved. And in terms of like, does it look like liquor license? I'd say like we're entering a bit of brand new territory, so we don't know exactly what it looks like yet, but we suspect that there will be some similarities.
Okay, thank you.
Sort of thing.
Oh, go ahead. I just have a message for Fred when you're finished.
Okay. Fred, one thing that our group kind of wanted to do and bring to the larger community board was, we feel like we've just been having some productive conversations with NYPD. And so we thought it might be helpful. They gave a really great report, Sergeant Barada, on crime in the district recently, and we thought it might be nice to do something like that. It'd be quarterly, maybe twice a year at the larger general board meetings. And so it doesn't have to be on the agenda for next month, but just want to put on your radar that we'd like to do that at some point in the next few months.
Sounds good. Excellent. Excellent.
Okay.
All right. We'll see Francisco Leopold, and then we're going to close.
Oh, hold on 1 second, Fred. Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry, Francisco. Just let me get it out. Pat Moses called me and she's having problems with her computer.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for that. Okay. Fran?
Yes, I noticed that there are quite a few of these cannabis shops coming up in the neighborhood. There is one right next door on Lefferts and Rogers, my neighbor, two doors away, and persons in the community have been calling me and asking me questions about it. And I think it's something that I mentioned before. And right there on Nostrand and Empire, there is another one opening right there, and lower down in the neighborhood, they're just popping up. And the last time I did ask a question about they're coming through us concerning licensing, and I was told that the city had nothing to do with it. It's a state thing. So since you're talking about the community board now, has a say in it. So all those shops that are being opened, but they are not coming through the board, to be vented, are we going to visit them? I'm sorry?
They're not legal. You can't legally,
exactly, yeah.
You cannot legally be selling marijuana currently. It's being done unlicensed. And so I'd say encourage the community to send those addresses to the community board, and we can take the necessary steps. I know that Dante and Fred have made some trips around the community also to check in with different storefronts. And so we have the necessary relationships to make sure that the right thing happens. So please, and encourage you, your neighbors, anyone in the community to come to us, because if they are selling pot, it's illegal, and they are likely just selling CBD, but if they're selling pot, it's illegal.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that. And we're going to touch on that a little bit later on in the meeting as well. Okay, thank you. Right, at this time, can we get a report from Parks, Recreation, and Culture?
Right, greetings everyone. How have everybody Doing
Well.
well, and a happy new year to everyone. I haven't seen since last year. So we been working favoration parks and recreation. We added 2 new community resident members to try to alleviate the lack of quorum. So we welcome one new one yesterday, Mr. Dave Walters. And we had a very successful meeting last week while I was trying to do double duty attending Assemblyman Cunningham inauguration and then step away to have the meeting. So my vice chair was ably started the meeting and really kept the meeting going. The highlights of the meeting are the following, and we will be submitting minutes shortly. We had a presentation from the Prospect Park Alliance with new design of the veil restoration, and most of the members were very pleased with what was happening. More information can be found in the tape. We also have, for the first time, intervention from the WCS, the Wildlife Conservation of the Prospect Park Zoo. For some of us, we always thought it was just part of the Prospect Park, but it's completely a separate institution at itself. We have somebody from there who's doing a study and make a very great presentation concerning what's happening at the park and how they are trying to get the community a lot more quality involved, which has not existed before. So I think it was Miss Tavli. We then the other highlight was we passed a motion to recommend to the community board that the CB9 fair be held the following weekend, the weekend following Memorial Weekend. And we got various reports from what's happening in this station. A lot of that information will be gotten within our minutes and the YouTube video. And that was the extent on my report.
Okay, thank you very much for the report. Just to be clear, so you said what was the action item you voted on? It was for?
We voted on the CB9 fair to be held following the weekend of Memorial Weekend.
Okay, that one we will probably need to discuss. Just to confirm it as a board date, because I think we want to discuss the format if we're doing similar to last year. If we're having everyone similar, or if this is something, if we're doing something different. But that's actually one of the items, and we'll discuss that as well. But okay, all right, but thank you for that. Okay, are there any questions for the Chair of Parks, Recreation, and Culture?
Yeah, quick question. I believe so. Deborah Kirshner from the Alliance reached out to the board office today. I think that they're looking for a letter of support.
Yes, I got the email this morning. She's asking for a letter of support because she was very pleased with the what happened at the meeting. He was very enthusiastically received the proposal she made for girls. She's looking for that. And I was planning by the next month, by the next meeting, to see if we could get the committee to put together a letter and move it to submit to the Prospect Park Alliance.
Okay, question now with respect to that, actually, I did have one comment. They actually came and presented to the Brooklyn Borough Board. So they came looking for approval from the Brooklyn Borough Board, but they came to your meeting last week?
Yes.
Okay.
This was their second visit, because the first time they came in last year, they had presented a plan, and this was a revised plan, taking into consideration a lot of the concern people have, and they made some quite drastic changes, and everyone seems to be on board for the new plan they submitted.
Okay, only because at the Borough Board, there was some question in terms of the timing, in terms of what was the engagement they did with the community boards. So that's just gonna be one of those things that's key in terms of, I think it was good for them. It's good for them to come to parks, to come to our respective committees, so that way we can vet them, because I was a little bit taken by surprise when they came to the board and they're like, okay, well, what is CB9 voting on that? And I'm like, well, did you come to the board first? But thanks for that information. And I think otherwise we're good, and just let us know. So did you vote in favor of a letter of support for that?
No, well, the letter of support request was received today, so the committee met last week. So this is something we have to consider at the next meeting.
Okay, okay, no, that's good. Okay, thanks for that clarity.
So, and then
All right,
they will submit it to the executive board. This is something for next month.
Okay, no, thank you very much for that. All right, so any other questions for the Chair of Parks, Recreation, and Culture? Okay, hearing none and no action items for this month, correct?
No, the only action item was the recommendation that the CB night fair be held. Hopefully next month we have a few activities we are working on, but they're not fully completed yet. So then we will submit those for action item. Project regarding the community garden and also some project involving music in the community.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, going on in the agenda, the next chair. Ms. Moses, I see you on the line. Are you good now?
Between protecting your family and protecting.
Ms. Moses, are you there? She might still be having issues. Okay, so let's.
Can you hear
move-
me?
Oh, yep, we hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, I'm on now. My computer messed up, so I'm on my iPad now.
Understood.
Okay, I don't have very much to report anyway. Just wanted to say that our subcommittee, they did meet on the 3rd, and the minutes will be submitted. The only thing I can say in terms of our report is nothing really is going on too much, except for I think it's 54 Crown Street. They reported in, but evidently there was a court case, and they lost the court case. So I think that the project is getting ready to move forward for 54 Crown. The only thing I want to ask you, in terms of our member that we submitted like twice, that wasn't reporting, we still haven't gotten our letter to say that they've been removed from the ULUP committee. Rashida, I haven't gotten anything in writing, and that's what we're waiting for. So we're marking her absent until such time that we get a formal something from the office to say that, she's been removed.
We actually just recently sent a letter where she's been removed from your committee. So we'll forward you a copy of that. She's been reassigned to another committee for now. But we will make sure that your roster is adjusted to reflect that she is no longer on yours.
Right.
I have a question for Ms. Moses.
Yes.
When you talk about 54 Crown Street, you say the court, they lost the court case. Who lost the court case? I just want to make a note.
MTOP.
I didn't hear, sorry.
MTOP.
Okay, thanks. I get
Right. So at this point, I think they're getting ready to, from what I understand, they're still going to forward to the Court of Appeals, but I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. Actually, if you can hold on for 2 seconds, let's just see if there's any questions. Are there any questions for the ULURP chair?
Sorry, no real questions. I live across the street from 54 Crown.
Yes.
And yeah, they've started work there, and I chatted with Dante about it, and they all say they have the plans up outside, and so they're building as of right, which means they're within the regular the zoning requirements. So they don't need to go to ULURP or anything, and I don't know.
Well, there's 2 buildings that's getting ready to come up there.
Hold on. I'm sorry. When you say as of right, how are they going up?
8 stories.
But that was what they fought over in the court, right? Wasn't it? Because I thought it was a lower height before that.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's 2 buildings. I think one is like, is it 17 stories? One is 16 stories and one is 17 stories.
Right. So my understanding is that They tried to do the 16-story, 17-story thing, but it's not actually within zoning. So they just basically said, forget it, whatever. We'll just build an 8-story building. And those are the plans that they have up now at the site, is just an 8-story building.
Right, that was actually the issue because there was a rezoning done for that specific portion of the district. And that's what was challenged in court, and that's what was actually tossed out in the lawsuit. So that's why they probably went down to that 8. But that one
I
was
don't
just
think they went
overturned.
down to, I'm not sure about that they went down to 8. Because I think Dante sent out some type of, I think Dante sent out a memo today. And it didn't, I think it said like 16 and 17. Dante, you sent out a memo to us today.
I don't think it was on 54 Crown.
Yes, it was. What was it? It was 54. Well, anyway, if it's 8, fine, but I didn't think it was 8.
Here we go.
All right. But let's look into that. I think that the issue was they probably went down to 8 because they lost the 16, 17. But if they lost the court case, the 16, 17 could be back on the table. But let's do this. Dante, if you can check into that to just confirm what plans are currently scheduled to be built on that site.
Yes. Yes, I see what Miss Moses is talking about.
Right. I don't think they, I don't have to pay. You have it, Dante? You sent
Yeah,
it
I've got
out.
it pulled up. Fred, you can go ahead and let me just look through this real quick and I can bring it up in my report because I was going to say a little bit about 54 anyways.
Fair enough. Thank you for that. Okay, so I guess that was one question. Any other questions for the ULURP chair? Okay, hearing none. And Ms. Moses, and you have no action items for this one, correct?
The only thing I wanted to say, there was it Kingsbrook? Oh, Kingsborough Psychiatric Center.
Okay.
I mean, hospital.
Yes.
Yeah, they're having a meeting on the same day as ours. I think it's this Thursday from 6 to 8. It's a public meeting.
They'll have to move it then.
Huh?
They'll have to move it then.
What, your meeting? Yeah, right. So anyway, theirs is from 6 to 8. But in my meeting, I just asked the community people to kind of go to the meeting because I couldn't be in 2 places at one time. I might can go to that meeting from 6 to 7, but not from 6 to 8. So basically, they're just really going to hear from the public.
Okay. All right. No, thank you very much for that.
Okay, no.
All right then. Okay, so I see the Environmental Protection Chair. You have a report for this month?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Happy New Year.
Evening. Happy New Year.
So we had a meeting first Thursday of the month, January, and we had an open discussion. Of course, we continue to have challenges with the people that are assigned to that committee. I'm not sure why nothing has been done yet, but trying to get stuff done. I mean, it makes it difficult because if you don't have a quorum, how do you move forward? However, we are still, communicating on trying to find out the problematic areas throughout the community so that we can follow up to make sure that, someone is paying attention to those areas, and whether it's, the trash cans or, the air or, the garbage and stuff like that. So, I mean, again, attendance remains a challenge, and hopefully that can be resolved because it appears as though it's not just with that committee. So hopefully moving forward, in order to get things done, something needs to be done drastically. And I hope that, that is being worked out because, it's the same thing over and over, and it makes no sense if you have these meetings and, people are assigned and they're not attending. I mean, it's either they are on that committee or they ask to be on another committee, but that should be resolved. as we move forward. So the only agenda item that I have is attendance for committee meetings or for any other meetings for the community board, for that matter. I also sent Dante a listing of outstanding items that we wanted a status on. So hopefully Khalid was able to provide you with that information from our January meeting. That's all I have.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it with Khalid, and we'll
Okay,
respond.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me start with the first pain point right there. So I've been working with the district office. So we've identified a significant number of people where, from amongst all the committees where this is an issue. We are going to be doing the removals this month. So all those who have been chronic absentees will be removed from the committees by the end of January. So revising your rosters. The net effect is, unfortunately, you'll have less members, at least until we're able to rebuild or restock the committees. But at the very least, what it does is it reduces the amount of the people that you need for quorum. So that way, at least you can meet and conduct business. We're going to continue to try and figure out in terms of being able to replenish membership, if we need to do any shifting in terms of membership or anything of that nature for going forward for the rest of the year. But that will be taken care of administratively, and that'll be taken care of by the end of the month. Okay. All right. So, are there any questions for the environmental protection chair of environmental? Oh, can't talk. Chair of environmental protection. Ms. Baptiste, I see you have your hand up.
Good evening. How are everyone on the call? Hope all is well. Happy New Year. Environmental chair, will you be having any garbage pickup that maybe we can collaborate with? Or do you know if you're gonna do any garbage pickup in the neighborhood like they did last year?
We are hoping that we can, get together as a committee or, try to get, community residents and anyone that would like to be involved in, cleaning up some of the corridors in the community. But again, we're trying to put that together as a committee, but if there's, not enough attendees, it makes it more difficult to proceed. So hopefully we can get that up and running. It's something that, the weather is nice now. If we can get out and do so, it would be good. But again, hopefully things will work itself out. But yeah, this is problematic. I can go there myself, but it's a committee, so it's we.
No,
So
I was
that's
just
what-
I was just asking because I was a part of the last one they had, and unfortunately, I didn't see any of my board members there except for the chair that was the chair from before, and I was there, and I even brought some children there. So
Are you
I'm just
speaking about the one on Empire?
no, the one that was from Dante, help me out. The one that I went to with they had with the DA's office and all that stuff Christian put together.
Because we had one, there was one where we did from Washington to
Mhm.
Understood. I'm sorry,
Rogers
but
Avenue.
only because we need to move the meeting, but I
Yeah.
think to the answer to the question is it hasn't been something done yet. But absolutely, if it's something that's interesting, either the committee or if the board is interested in doing that, we can organize it. And
But
that
I'll
might even be
definitely
something-
put the information out there once we have something in place on Naomi.
That'll be perfect because I would love to collaborate with that. So
Okay.
thank you. And maybe
Okay.
we'll do some time off of here. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right, are there any questions for the EP chair? Okay, hearing none. Okay, we're gonna move on. Ms. Baptiste, as long as we got you there. Education?
Oh, really? Good evening again. My name is Naomi Baptiste. I would like to welcome anyone who doesn't know. I am the education chair for education and library chair for Community Board 9. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Nice to hear you. Just an update. Attendance is atrocious, and we're working on that. But what I've been trying to establish is a reading program coming out of Community Board 9. I've been starting to talk to the district office. We came up with some good things. We have also came up with some good ideas, but unfortunately, due to attendance, we can only have conversations. So the reading program consists of working with the schools throughout District 17 that is under Community Board 9 and mostly all the libraries within Community Board 9. So it's real positive, hopefully get a lot of backing and maybe bring it to the general board to be introduced as a program being introduced by the community board for the community of the schools of District 17. So if anybody wants any more questions, you have permission to get my information from Dante, such as my email address, and we can continue the conversation more if anybody wants to. But if you have any questions or comments for me, I'll be here until the head chair in charge tells me that it's no more time. So thank you.
Question?
Oh, hold on. We do actually have a question. So I see first question from our esteemed secretary, Linda Watson.
Naomi, I noticed that you just talk about schools. Would you be willing to open that like to other community boards that have youth clubs or stuff like that? Because if it's becoming a problem or something, maybe you might be able to.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, Miss Lord, but my son was asking me for cookies and milk, and all I heard was youth club. So please excuse me. I'm trying to wear 3 hats at one time with no hat on. So you asked about youth clubs, right?
Yes. You're willing to open your book program. Reading program.
Wait, I'm willing to what? Say it again one time.
Are you willing to open your reading program to outside youth clubs in our district?
Of course. I mean, I have if I can, I'll elaborate a little bit. I have relationships with District 23, School District 23, which is in a whole number neighborhood, right? I have some in Community Board 8, different community boards with different libraries, and I would love to have a youth club. All suggestions are preferred because fortunately, we have 2 youth services in this community board. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I know that Education and Library deals with, I want to say pre-K to age of 15, right? And then the youth is, I think, from 16 to 24. I'm just saying, correct me if I'm wrong. But any youth clubs, would love to open a youth club, anything that can help with the young people of this community, because it's a lot. And hopefully have the adults, like some adults that are not working, to also be involved as well if they want to with their children, because unfortunately, some people cannot work. Maybe they could work remotely or something, and hopefully open it up to more. So I have a big idea, but again, we can always talk offline because I don't want to take the time up. But if you want to make some suggestions, you can get my email from Dante. Everybody has the permission. If you want to, you can just shoot me whatever you want, and then we can talk about it at another time. I'm open. I'm open.
Okay. Are there any other questions for the education chair? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much. All right, we will move on to, I apologize, Ms. Newsom. Housing, you have a report for housing?
Hi, Frank. Good evening, everybody. We had we had a meeting with Empire Development, which is handling Kingsborough. And it went on for a minute. There were the majority of the people in the room are upset about no parking. They're upset about the social services that are going to be offered there. But the presentation that they offered was a good one. Unfortunately, it didn't have any details in it, like the number of apartments that they gave us. It wasn't a concrete number. They said they left it open so that they would have flexibility when it came down for them to do approval. When they were asked about the parking, they said that the majority of the people who they support in that level of housing don't drive, and parking has been underutilized. When they were talking about the grocery store, that was the third phase of the plan, and they don't currently know who is going to be there. But the presentation did expose a large number of individuals to the development that weren't originally aware, but it didn't inform them. It just exposed them that there is going to be development and this is where it's going to be. So that was housing's meeting. It went on for a while, but a lot of people walked away really disappointed.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any questions? Well, actually, let me ask this. Ms. Dusa, do you have any action items on your for your committee?
No action items. They're going to do another presentation. Oh, and we're supposed to do, and I almost forgot, we're supposed to do a walkthrough. Because one of the biggest concerns of 80% of the group was the mental health piece, that the psychiatric center is going to be rebuilt. As many, I think it's 300 and some odd people are there now. And when they replace it, it's going to be the same number of people. So one of the concerns is that there's not going to be any improvement between breaking ground and the current facilitator of the mental health piece. So Breaking Ground agreed to do a walkthrough. They are going to go to the community board, put up time. They were supposed to be giving us time slots on when people could volunteer to go with them to walk through the area as it currently is. And so that the people who live in the community can talk about what some of their challenges are. That's not an action item, but that's a heads up for anyone who wants to do the walkthrough with Breaking Ground.
Thank you very much for that information.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
we can take a couple of questions for the housing chair. Any questions? All right.
Yeah,
Warren.
it's Warren.
Okay, go ahead, Warren.
Anybody else? Anyway, Beverly, thank you for that report. I have to tell you that, as you know, I have a history in administration of hospitals and health and hospitals, and I really don't trust and this has nothing to do with you. I'm going to raise a lot of alarms here. This seems to be an organization, North Brooklyn Health, that's having a lot of issues, i.e. the computers were ransacked, this and that. And if they're giving you Breaking Ground as the mental health component, Breaking Ground is an independent program. I think we have to really raise a lot of red flags here and see what's going on. And I'm certainly happy to contribute to anything that you need evaluations on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Almanor, we'll see your question and then we close on you.
This section of the community board is really one of the sections that doesn't get much attention where this development is taking place. what I've been thinking about, have they submitted the plan for community centers, community basketball court, I mean, community activities, I mean, spaces where the community can participate. Does anybody know if there's any plan, or Beverly, have they submitted any plan on what's gonna happen where the community is involved or may have the ability to make some proposal in terms of what should happen within that space?
Somehow being able to transform it into beauty and joy. Let me take a stab a little bit at that. One of the facets of this project is that it's a state project. So this is going back at least 3 or 4 years ago. The assembly member for the district had actually had some community meetings in terms of trying to figure out what kinds of things, what kinds of amenities, what populations were going to be done. But that's part of that whole Fido Brooklyn project. So that was never something that actually came to ULURP. And aside from some conversations where there were some ideas that were given, there was never an opportunity to say we're voting on this, or even something that even came through ULURP, which is part of the reason why I sense that there's definitely frustration with some of the things that are coming, because people don't want some programs, or they don't want some programs, or they feel they're not being responsive. But that's part of the challenge. It's something that never came through us in that respect. We needed to approve something, or we said we wanted X, Y, Z. Well, actually, no, let me not mischaracterize. I think there was some requests in terms of what kinds of populations,
Yes.
what kinds of housing mixes,
Yes.
some of the amenities, but I think it was just a matter of they were getting some of that input from us. But after that, it's not really in our hands. Beverly, if you have any other input with that.
So one of the things right now, the way the project was presented to us, 300 and some odd beds are going to be for the psychiatric component. There's going to be for the regular community that's looking for an apartment, that's 764 beds. There's going to be a certain number of populations, a certain number set aside for individuals who are aging out of the foster care system. There's going to be another group of set aside for seniors who are on fixed incomes. The challenging part about the project, although the Empire Development Team seemed to be well planned out, the fact that it's a state program and they realize that if we have any influence at all, it would be through the electeds. They are not really accommodating us. They're answering our questions in a very professional way, but we don't walk away with any skin off the ball. They're not, in order for us to really, it doesn't, I was in the room a couple of times because Diana did Vital Brooklyn through her Civic Minded platform. And with that, by the time she was done over a couple months, she had a very good vision over what the community wanted because the room was packed and everybody had an opportunity to chime in. This project doesn't look anything like that, right? To give you an example, there is a vendor in there who's going to be a ballet vendor. And where they got ballet from the community on that side of town escapes me. And to answer your question, Almanor, when someone mentioned that, then one of the presenters said that it's possible that they could see a community space there in place of the ballet vendor. But they're not really, they're presenting in front of us because they feel, they seem to be presenting in front of us because they feel they should, not because they feel obligated to what we want. They are a state project. That's the painful side of it.
And to dovetail on that, I think, and we've seen, this is not something we've not seen in the board before. There are a number of these projects, especially if they're coming from the state side or from other agencies or from New York Economic Development Corporation, where I think there might be some requirements on their side that they do have some public-facing engagement. What that means in terms of how much input that we have, aside from voicing, your concerns, that's kind of the thing. I mean, I think they offer some forums for you to do that. how much you can realistically affect, I'm not sure. I mean, they may or may not take it under advisement. We don't specifically as a board have a role in that.
We can always go to our state officials. We can always do that.
Right.
But how much influence we're gonna have over the project as a whole? I don't know. I don't know. I gotta be honest.
All right. Okay, but with that,
Question, one very quick question. The state official involved are what? Cunningham and the state senator, is that not my?
Over on that side,
It's a mission.
they did mention all the elected officials on that side. I'm not familiar. I'm sorry.
I believe Brian
but-
Cunningham, I think Monique Waterman Chandler.
Okay,
She might be on the other side of it.
yeah, she might be on
Two.
the other side. Right.
The
where
assembly members of
is-
primary.
Where's where's Zimmerman? Isn't she back there somewhere?
No.
Zimmerman, no, I don't think.
She's Bed-Stuy, Brownsville.
Brownsville is Monique, Water. Is Monique. That
And we
she
could also
replaces,
go to-
Nick Perry.
We could also go to Zelnor, but also too, even though this is a state project, it's possible that many times our city elected officials can have influence over our state elected officials with relationships. But for right now, their project, when you look at it, you don't have concrete anything. You don't, they'll give you a figure, a number of apartments, but they'll tell you, this is a definite number because we want to remain, I forgot what entity they have to sit in front of.
Oh,
HPD,
yeah.
HPD, sorry.
Beverly, we're losing your microphone a little bit. Your microphone changed up.
Sorry, I forgot who they have, it's HPD they have to present in front of. So they want to leave the numbers wide open. So the community really don't know what the project looks like. They really don't know. And parking spaces, that's not going to fit. I think they have less than 30 parking spaces.
I cannot even recall. I can't.
Because some of the people in the room were really upset about the number of apartments that they're moving into the community without equivalent amount of parking spaces. And he said, when they use those parking spaces, the community did their.
Fred, it's Warren. What's going on?
A little bit of a problem with the microphone right there, but I think Beverly's finished with that. So definitely there's some concerns that are in the community with respect to that. But I think at this point, what's probably the best to do is, and do receive, or if you have a list of concerns that have been voiced by the community, we can kind of consolidate those and share those with the assembly members and see, because really the ball will be in their part to see if they're able to advocate on that.
May
But
I
from the
make
board
a
perspective, we
comment?
really don't. Well, actually, I did, we spent a little bit more time than we wanted to with the
Yeah, but
budget.
I just need to make a short comment. And that is, my opinion, the community is getting screwed here. So we need to pay a lot more attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, so we did have allotted to those two questions. We need to move on. We can talk about that offline, or if there's any questions or any suggestions, please feel free to talk to me or to the housing chair with respect to that as well. And we can see how the board can approach. Okay, so next I see youth services chair. Solely on the line? Sol, you there?
Okay, sorry, I was on my phone and it was acting silly. Yes, is there anybody else who needs to present? I'm walking up the stairs to my house now. Or am I the last one?
No, not quite. We can give you a minute. Hold on. Okay, so we'll
Yeah,
come
give
back.
me a minute. Thank
Come
you.
back to you. All right, I do see the chair of economic development. Warren, you got a report?
Yes, I do. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. I have 3 points. The first one is that I described to the executive committee last month about the Flatbush Merchants Association wanting to expand to Crown Heights. I either misunderstood or overspoke. But when they presented to the Economic Development Committee, it was just one block they had a grant for, and that's between Parkside and Clarkson. And, basically that's great. I was actually extremely disappointed that they weren't going to move up because our merchants and our merchants association have failed and closed, and we could use a little help. But I certainly support the one block. I mean, it's really not anything decisive. And in my mind is that if they're gonna help one block of merchants, they should do it. And I didn't have quorum at the committee, but that's just my opinion. The second thing is that everybody should know that, we did a really good thing with this green market. And it amazes me that most of the people who are critical aren't around. For the interim for the last year and a half, we've had a green market, I believe a Crown and Nordstrom. And on January 27th, they're going to release a film describing the success of the Crown Heights fresh food market. And just to tease you, Dante makes a great presentation. So if anybody will be around on 127, by all means, come on up. The third thing is, which also relates to food insecurity, is that I recently read that Liddell Markets, which is, everybody's heard of Aldi here, but Liddell is the other half. It was like two brothers who split up, blah, 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 blah. But Liddell Markets is going to open a new market at the Firestone site. And I thank Mia for letting me know that. And that's a big deal because Liddell as well as Aldi are very affordable markets. And I just hope that we give it the support as well as we need it. So thank you.
Warren, could you repeat the name of Before Market?
Yes, Liddell.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a big deal. This is not a, this is a major supermarket organization investing in our community. You got to figure, besides providing the residents with the food, you're talking 200-300 jobs. So I just think this is wonderful. And thank you.
Where will it be? You didn't answer my question. I want to like kind of address.
It's Empire, and I forget, where everybody knows the Firestone store?
Where the Firestone used to be.
Empire.
Yes.
Where the Firestone used to be.
Oh, okay, because I know now. Okay.
Thank you. That's my report.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's a good idea to put a Trader Joe's in that same area.
Say that again, Nick.
Okay,
A lot
hold
of
on.
people
We can't
Sorry,
shout out. Okay.
The Trader Joe's, a lot of people
Yeah,
didn't have marketing for that.
I'm old. I get confused, so.
All right. Are there any questions for regarding the economic development report? Going once.
Actually, I have one. I just want to reinforce, if members of our board could be at 127 to see the film and the release of the film of the Fresh Market. This is so important to our community. We really need to support it. Thank you.
Yeah, and just I guess as the final plug for that as well. I think this is something we should be very proud of as a board. Because that is a direct result of efforts made by us. I mean, when the Associated went down, I mean, for however you felt about it, there is an impact and there is a loss. We're still dealing with that, but it was something that was tangible that we were able to do and engage with other elected officials to try and get that there. And it's been thriving. So I think that's something that we should definitely be proud of, and you know, and look to that as things that, you know, we can do concrete in the community and see if we can replicate that in as many different ways as possible. Ms. Baptiste, I see you, and then we're going to close. Yeah, okay, Ms. Baptiste, and I guess, and Madam Secretary, thank you.
One of my question is that since it's such a prosperous and congratulations on the new endeavor, are you gonna have any summer youth programs for the children in the neighborhood?
Well, it's not our responsibility. Greater New York Grow, I guess it's NYU Grow, has huge programs going up in our community. The biggest one is behind the School for the Deaf, where they actually created gardens and they sell their products after that. So they're right there. It's a great organization to reach to.
And Warren, if I could add on that, if I remember, I think the organization, they do classes and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
So that's something we can definitely look into in terms of
No,
if there's
exactly
any
right. I mean,
opportunities.
I have to tell you, the more I learn about New York City Grow, I am so impressed. I mean, they're right there, whether it's with classes, farm markets, food distribution, it's just amazing.
Oh, I want to be clear. So you're saying that they don't have anything for the youth? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Or
I
you're
said they
saying-
do.
No,
You
they
have
do.
to
Oh, they do?
advocate.
Okay, no, I just, no, sure, because that's why
And
I'm asking.
Naomi, if they have so much going on for the youth and growing and gardens, from Wingate to the School for the Deaf, it's just a tremendous opportunities. And if you know people who could benefit from this, reach out to Dante and he'll give you the contact information. Thank you.
No, I do. No, I do plan to, because one of the reason why I not make it very brief is because, you know, they have things for the children to do, but as you further your education, you need to show that you do some things in your community or some volunteer work. So the reason why I'm asking is because the things I would like to propose, you know, when things start picking up or I get more attendance, is that we can start having letters for the youth. So if they do go to college or high school, that can be assured from them from the actual community board. So that's why I'm just asking for myself.
Correct.
So I
And,
can go back.
and Naomi will support everything you're saying.
So we'll, yeah, so
Okay,
Dante
thank
will
you so
take care of
much.
that.
Thank
We
you.
can get
Thank
that
you.
information.
Thank you.
Okay,
All
very
right.
quickly, and then we have to move on. Ms. Watson, Lord, I see you, and Ms. Timothy, we see you, and then we got to close on you. Okay, go ahead.
Just one thing, Warren, on the January 20th, would you have like flyers or anything that we could share?
Could you say that again, please?
Would you
Flyers.
have any flyers, any correspondence that we can share with the community on your January 27th event?
I don't right now, but I think that based on your question, Dante will be generated then.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And Debbie, we'll see your question and we'll close on you.
So, I mean, I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to share with Naomi. If you go on Grow NYC website, there's a wealth of information there. I remember when the program started, I was a part of it. When they came to the Manhattan Borough President's office to start the program. So yeah, there's a wealth of stuff on there that you can look at and see where all the markets are and all those things and all the programs that they offer.
Thank you so much. Cause and I just know they have a lot of things going on, but it can be very convoluted and also a lot of information that just one person or three people have. So I just want to make sure it's shared. So thank you so much, time.
All right, thank you. All right, Madam Chair for Youth Services.
I am,
Gotcha.
Yep, I'm here. I'm sitting down finally. Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are having a happy new year, good beginning of the 2023. And my motto is the best me in 2023. So just giving you guys a quick update on what we discussed. We did have a forum for our meeting, and we had a successful youth summit, which was wonderful. We had a couple of members come and volunteer to help pack bags and the goodie giveaways for the youth. Latween and Cynthia came, and then also John attended, I attended, and a few people attended, which was wonderful. The other thing that we did talk about was that we wanted to have 2 large, solid programming for the spring. So we decided that with the job preparation workshop, that we would not do that this year, but that we would work to do it next year and plan it with a couple of schools to make sure that we can have good attendance and things like that. So we'll push it to next year. What we did vote yes on or yay on is having a job and internship fair, so that we can, offer up and have vendors come out to before or right before around SYEP time, opening time, so that they would have a one-stop shop in order to be able to know where to apply. Today, I actually was just coming from another internship fair at Medgar Evers College with the BRC program. So I was able to grab everybody's business cards who are offering job and internships through their organizations as well. So I have quite a few cards from that event that I just walked down the block from tonight. The other one that everybody stated they wanted to do was the Family, Youth, and Fun Day in the Park. But I believe that we have been talking about it being a part of a large CB9 event, that we would partner with CB9 and everybody. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. I could be using the incorrect words, but that it'd be a CB9 event with a section of it focused on Family, Youth, and Fun Day, where we would have games, raffles, also do like a film festival showing some films that kids have done or different people have worked on, and make it kind of a fun extended block party from Robert McNair Park down to the block where Prospect Heights and Clara Barton's schools are. And so everybody was in agreement with that. And so I'm putting it out there for everybody to vote on and see if we'd also get a yay from the larger community.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any action items for the board, the exec to consider, or for the board to vote on?
Yes, I would like the board to vote on us being able to do the job, to do the job and internship fair that we're gearing for April. And then approval for the Family, Youth, and Fun Day in the Park for June.
Okay. All right. Did you already submit okay.
No, I'm gonna submit it actually this week. It will be definitely done and in it. So we had to do the research for some of the monies and stuff. So I have all of that now and we'll be able to submit it this week.
Okay, if you can give us some of the particulars for the job and internship fair. So what date, place, what kinds of things?
Okay.
If it's a ballpark.
So we had said that we would be able to do it at Robert McNair Park Saturday, April 1st. And we estimate, so I did estimates around certain things, but I'm figuring the board would know better because I just looked up what maybe like tables, chairs, giveaways, t-shirts, different things like that. And we estimated being about $1,000 if we keep it on the lowest end. If we want to do more or extra, I guess that's something we could talk about, but in estimating, it would be around $1,000 for that. And then for the Family, Youth, and Fun Day, that actually comes out to quite a bit more because we were talking tables, chairs, giveaways, gift cards, Xbox, large screen TV, DJs, bounce house, face painting, food, snacks, films, film screening, and equipment. And that came up more to $6,250.
Okay. All right, so let's take questions. We'll take a couple of questions.
Yeah, I got a question. I'm on a
Yes.
committee, and I always had a question, even when we were discussing this, if this is CB9's fair, like same way how we had it last year, right? I know that we were talking about partnering, but I can't understand, we are a committee of CB9. So I would have think that our activities would be part of CB9's. There were just, you know, a lot of space for us to do this. And anything that like will come under our budget, CB9 will look at it and see what they can do and where they can assist us, rather than the committee seems to be working like an outside organization partnering with CB9. So correct me, because that part, even in our meeting, I really wasn't sure. We were trying to get everything up so that we were trying to come together with numbers just in case that we got to go on our own. But if it is like how last year we had fair, all the committees were asked to participate. And I can't remember if there were committees that had to go out and get like their own chairs, their own table. Dante, we all had put up those tables, and it was CB9's tables. So I'm wondering if you could explain, help us in where could we as a committee go with our plans? You know, would you like a lot, like a space like where we were talking about going on the block and say that space for the youth committee, and y'all will set up y'all book house, we tell you what we want, and if we could do any fundraising to help, anything like that. But I was a bit not clear on how a committee could partner with a parent.
Right. I mean, along those lines, and, you know, just to make sure we're clear. So with the committees, obviously, the charge is to create these events, to dream the dreams and let us know what it is that we're trying to do. But they're CB9 events, so this is something, it's a whole of CB9 is supposed to come together for these things and support these things. And the whole of CB9 will see what we can do in terms of putting budget towards that, or making, writing letters or begging, whatever it is. So if it's a letter to beg, the CB9 chair's name is going to be on there saying, listen, we're trying to do this and we're going to do this. But that's one of the things. So I think even with that point, I think the Family Day part of it is something that I want us to, I'm glad that you started thinking about that. And I know that Parks has already started having a conversation. And that's something I actually had as part of my chairman's report, where we're at that stage. Yes, we should be talking about that in terms of what are we looking at? What is this potentially going to look like? What kind of dollar figures we're looking at? And so that way we can begin that process of seeing what we have, what we can do by ourselves, and starting to bring other partners to bear, meaning, if there's any, philanthropic people who can do it, if there's any businesses who are willing to support or do anything, elected officials get that on their radar so we can see what they can support as well. So I would just say for that part of it, for the family part, that's actually gonna be a conversation that we're gonna structure in terms of, let's get that conversation going where everybody's on the same page and we're thinking. So it's not dribs and drabs, what this committee wants to do, what that committee wants to do, but we know what everybody wants, what the vision is, and we can kind of put a budget together and get that plan. So we'll take care of that piece. All right, Mr. Almanor, we'll see your question and then we have to move on.
And a question, because what the action item we asked for the committee to consider was a date for this particular activity. So that's what came out of the committee. Because everything that's been described, it seems to be part of what all of us wants to do. My suggestion would be is to probably set up a meeting with a different committee that's thinking about the same activity, so everybody could gel together, so we'll have one activity. And this is what I like to propose. If I need to make a motion, I like to make that motion that we put together a committee, a meeting of all the committee heads that are really interested in the family fair like we did last year, so they could sit, strategize, and so everybody will be on the same page.
If we could hold off on that only because we're accepting reports right now, and I will speak to that directly when we get to the to my chairman's report as well. But I think,
Okay.
yeah, we're at that stage where we need to be talking about that, and we need to start organizing how that's going to look and how that process.
Yeah, so I guess my understanding is, I think that definitely this should be a collaborative process, but the way I'm understanding it is like we're kind of expressing our part of what it is that we want to do so we could get things moving. Because I think if we then wait for other people and other groups, it'll slow things down a little bit. And I believe the way I'm understanding is for us to at least know that we get the yays, then I could get the budget and everything in, and that we could like at least start the ball rolling as we continue to collaborate. Is that correct in my understanding?
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. But so, so it looks like, Parks and you might be a little bit ahead of the curve with that, but the whole idea is let's get everybody else on board with that. Let's see what the vision and the dream is. Let's put the dollar signs to that, and then let's push this and make sure that it's something as successful as, even more successful than what we did last year.
Okay.
And that's a conversation we're moving towards right now.
Okay. And Fred, just out of understanding, am I supposed to turn the budget in? I thought I was supposed to turn the budget in when people said it was okay and then do it, or am I supposed to turn the budget in before?
Before, because the idea would be that the executive committee, so that way, the office can look at it and they can say, okay, it's $1,000 or it's $10,000.
Oh,
And Dante can see what he can do. And at the same time, the exec, can look at it as well. And if they have questions or recommendations,
okay.
we can look at that as well. So that's
Okay. All right. I apologize for not quite knowing all the order and everything yet. So it's super clear to me now. I apologize for not getting it in a bit early. I thought I had to wait and then turn it. Okay.
No worries. And that goes for all the chairs. So really what's helpful is always to make sure if we get that in front of us, because as an executive committee, to do that oversight function, that's what we're able to do is look at the numbers in terms of what you're planning. So that way we can ask, we can offer anything or vote on and say, yeah, it's ready to go, put it before the board and let's solidify this.
Okay. Okay. Got you.
All right. Ms. Moses, I see you.
Yes. Good evening again, everybody. The borough president, I think he made a statement that he wanted to have some youth on our board, 16 and over. So since you're on the youth committee, you might want to take a look at that. He wanted them to apply, a young person that's interested. You have to choose out who that person is now. But I think that's what, I think that the date to apply is what?
February 14th.
February 14th. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. All right. Okay, so we are going to move on. I think I might be the last committee. Are there any other chairs that, and I apologize in advance, are there any chairs that I skipped?
So am I supposed to get an approval, or is just a presentation?
That's a presentation. Let's get, so let's do the next step. Let's, if you can get us the project form, if you can get that to Dante, we can start the process of looking at that. I think we still have a little bit of time.
Okay.
The job internship, right?
Okay. All right.
So
No
let's do
problem.
that. So by the next month, I think we're in a position, let's vote on it. Let's see what what resources we can put in. We can get
Okay.
to lock,
Okay.
right? And Dante, I think, can start looking at the dates, because I think you said,
Yeah, we have Saturday, April 1st is what we said. We didn't say a specific date for June, but what I'm gonna do is look at the school calendar and make sure. I'm thinking like the first week of June is probably maybe a good time to try to do it, but I'm gonna make sure there's no like testing or weird stuff going on, before we could throw out that specific date.
yeah, that's kind of went with last year too, because I think we were trying to be cognizant of that in terms of the
Yeah.
testing and those things. So I think that first week after Memorial Day tends to work better.
Okay.
But we'll be able to look at that, and we'll be discussing that as we have that meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay. So with that, so the last report we have for this evening will be transportation. So for I chair the transportation. So number of things. There's a lot of things going on in the district with regards to transportation. First of all, I think one of the conversations we had as a committee is that we are relooking at the way that we're actually submitting to DOT. I think one of the challenges we've had is that, especially for some of the solutions we look at, it's such a long tail in terms of from the time you put a request in with DOT. Some of them require studies, and it takes a year, at least a year for some of these. Honestly, they've been dragging their feet on some of these, so it took way longer than that. I want to thank the district office, because they actually sent in some emails and got some movement on some of them. Some of them were no's, but one of the things that we're taking from that is, listen, the problem is not so much that we're talking about speed bumps, but there are safety issues in the district that need to be addressed. So if it's a speed bump, if it's a speed camera, if it's you have a traffic car, whatever it is, we think that the agencies need to be more responsive in terms of what are you going to do to fix this problem before it becomes an issue that costs somebody. So Dante and the team have been great in terms of kind of identifying the spots in the past that have had issues. And we are in the process of engaging DOT to say, what are you going to do to fix this? So that's something that I think has been very important that's come out of that. And again, I think there are a lot of projects that are coming down the pipe. So for one, on February 7th, there is actually going to be a district level meeting regarding the Brooklyn bus design network redesign. So that is a project that the city had started, I believe, before the pandemic. It's coming back up where they are looking at all the bus lines and trying to figure out what is the best way to have the service. Potentially, so if it be adding new bus lines, if it be changing the routes for certain bus lines as well. So they are going to be having one in the district where we will have a direct opportunity to weigh in terms of where we see the issues and problems with the bus lines and make recommendations for how they can improve the service in the district. So that's going to be going out. We'll be sending out reminders with respect to that. Another major project that's happening in the district is for the B41 corridor. So that's that's coming through all of central Brooklyn. So a number of community boards are involved in that. So one of the things we wanted to do is reach out to the district, to the community, to get feedback on that. So the district office is in the process of organizing a town hall with respect to that 41 corridor. So we're asking for as many people to come out and support that as well. Come with your ideas, come with your thoughts, your considerations in terms of what things we would want to see when they redesign the corridor, especially through CB9, and what things they need to be aware of as they come through the corridor as well. So, we're looking at things like traffic safety. We're looking at pedestrian safety. We're looking at buses, bus size. What kind of size buses should they be using? Is it appropriate to have a bus lane coming through the district because there are space concerns, with regards to that, especially through our neck of the district. So that is something that's being organized. I believe the save the date is being sent out, and we're going to have additional details. But I think this is going to be something good for us to get ahead of, making sure that our thoughts, our wants and desires for that section of Flatbush Avenue are heard and incorporated when they actually do the planning for that stage.
Could you mention
Lastly, I'm sorry. And I have one last item, and this is actually an action item for this evening. So at the Transportation Committee meeting, we had applicants coming. There are applicants looking for a renaming of Utica Avenue. I believe the stretch from Eastern Parkway going down to Avenue H. So there's a portion of it that falls within CB9 to co-name it to Guyana Avenue to honor a lot of the Guyanese, residents in the district and in Brooklyn and for all the contributions that they've made to the city. So that came to the Transportation Committee. The committee voted unanimously for it to move forward to the board. So that is going to be considered. Actually, the recommendation was for the Transportation Committee was that it be moved to the board for a vote and that it votes in the affirmative. Okay. So with that, those are all the points that I have for now for the Transportation Committee, and I will take questions.
Mr. Chair, before you go, what date will we have the town hall meeting for the 41 corridor?
That will be January 30th, correct, Dante?
The DOT town hall is
Yes.
the 30th. Yes, that's correct.
January 30th, correct.
It's already on our website.
Okay, thanks. I thought I saw it, but I couldn't remember the time.
Okay. Ms. Baptiste, I see you. Ms. Baptiste? Naomi, can you hear us?
Now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Good. Sorry, it was attached to my speaker. First question is, have we ever thought about asking any of the students who take the bus route for the 41 what they think about the new changes that might be for the bus? Just a question. Second question is that Guyanese, you said Guyanese Way? Is that what you said?
Guyana Avenue is the proposed.
Oh, Guyana Avenue. Okay, because that's by my corridor. So I wanted to know like what more, is there any more entail with that or is just the renaming?
It'll be a co-naming, so that portion will still be Utica Avenue, but you'll see additional signage saying Guyana Avenue from Eastern Parkway down to Avenue H. So it's across multiple community boards. So
Okay.
our stretch here, 17 a little bit further down, and I can't remember if it's there's another community board. I cannot remember which one a little bit further down as well.
Okay. So the first question is that has anyone from transportation or has they thought about it? Because there are a number of students that ride that bus route that come down that line. So is there any questions to any of the youth? I don't care what age they are. I'm just saying those students that take the bus, because that might be something that's questionable, because when they take the bus, sometimes it's very crowded and, it can be very rowdy sometimes depending on the time of day. And does it affect them in any way with taking public transportation? It's just a question if it has never been asked or asked before.
I don't think this is an opportunity that's come before us before, so I think this is novel for the board and for the district, which is the reason why we want to take an opportunity to start getting that. But absolutely, I think it's a point well taken where we can reach out to the schools as well to see if they have the students that would like to actually participate in that. So this will be something virtual, so it's like they won't have to necessarily lose a school night. They can come in, or they can even write out what their thoughts are with that as well, so we can make this a project for the schools.
No, because I know there's a number of schools along that line that might be under us, and that might be something, and it could be something new that, well, I'm just saying from our community board, maybe it's something that can be as a trend that start asking students in the neighborhood, what do they think about the busing or whatever developments that we're doing, because they're a part of the community too. Unfortunately, what we don't do in our culture is that we don't ask everybody. We ask a certain group, but we don't ask everyone that partakes. Sometimes nobody asks the students, nobody asks people with disabilities, people don't ask seniors, they only ask a specific group. So that's why I'm just bringing that out there. I just wanted to ask.
No, duly noted. Point taken. Ms. Watson-Moore, did you have another question?
Yeah, not one of your questions, just a comment on the redesigning. If people who want to come to the redesigning, you must get that big booklet over 600 pages and look through it. It's a lot, and it's a lot of information. So it's not just like the 41 going down the street. You'd be surprised at the things that they say they want to do, how they want to use a little extension from Flatbush just right down to like Atlantic Avenue. So please look at it, and you could, so that when we go there, we would exactly be able to understand what they're saying.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. I think that's all. So I have that one action item, so we'll be able to discuss that when we get to the voting portion of the meeting. Okay. So are there any other chairs or that have not reported? Okay. So I don't see any of the chairs. So I have as action items, Warren, the Merchants Association. Do we need to vote on a letter of support? Warren still there? Yeah, Warren? Okay, well, I have as action item, so we'll see. Potentially as an action item to vote on Merchants Association, the Guy Avenue renaming. So I would ask if those two items, if we can actually get those project forms in, we can make sure they're on the agenda so we can vote on those in there. We'll take care of that. Are there any other action items that the board needs to vote on? The committees. Okay, hearing none, that concludes the committee reports. As we are turning over a new leaf in 2023, I want to thank all the committee chairs who are here this evening. At this time, you are free to go. You do not have to stay. If you wish to stay, you are more than welcome. We're going to vote on the action items, and we will be providing the administrative report from the district office, and I'll be giving a chairman's report as well. But those will also be repeated at the general board meeting, so you won't be missing much if you decide you want to defer and wait till the board meeting to hear the reports.
Hey, Fred, it's Warren. I
Yes.
had trouble getting unmuted, but in terms of an action item, I don't think it's necessary. It's one block, and I don't see where it could be harm or benefit. It probably benefits to our committee and our merchants.
Right. Well, no, the only reason why I say that is because I think, I think it should be something that's officially voted on by the board in terms of, yeah, we support the project as opposed to
Perfect.
we sign. off.
Okay, thank you.
But I agree. I don't see too much objection. Ms. Moses.
Okay, I found that information on 54 Crown Street. And it is what he sent out to us. And then we also have something from the city, which it deals with environmental. So Debbie really should get a copy of this so that she can take a look at all of the different things that's going to happen in terms of their cleanup plan. But it's not 8 stories. It's 17 stories for one building and 16 for one and 17 for the other one. And I don't know if you got that information. I don't know if Debbie got that information or not. But it came from the city, and Dante sent that memo out to us, I think the other day. But I think it's something that Debbie's committee really needs to also look at, because they're talking about environmental stuff that has to be done there. And also they plan to start their building in March, building up the situation in March.
Okay. The office can make sure they can CC her on that. So we'll
Yeah.
Hey, it's fine. Hey, Pat,
Yeah.
does that mean, is that a ULIP consideration or is it a? done
No, it's
deal?
no ULIP no, it's not a ULIP situation.
Okay, thank you.
Fran, did you have something?
I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but I might have to jump off soon. I just want to ask, I would like to for HSS to have I don't know how it's going to work. Quarterly health segment at the general board meeting on different health topics.
I think it's good when we can bring them in. The only question, usually I think it's, usually I prefer to do it on a month-to-month basis, because depending on what comes on the agenda, I don't want to make the commitment that all of a sudden something really urgent comes in and we have to come off of that. But if you absolutely have presentations that you would like to, to offer, I think it's something we can put up, and we can vote on it as executive. We can put them on for the month.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Newsom, I see you.
I just have a question of Patricia. 54 Crown, that's the building across from Tivoli, right?
I'm sorry, across the pool?
54 Crown, that's that's the development across from Tivoli, right?
I'm not sure, but I think so. I'm
Yes.
not really sure.
Yes.
It's a corner.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right on Crown.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay, just because someone asked about how high it was gonna be. Remember, they've been in front of us before through the ULIP process under a different name, and the address was on Franklin. When they switched property owners, they moved the address to Crown. They got an increase in zoning from Councilmember Combo. Just FYI, when they came in front of us.
Right, and so there wasn't a problem. I think when ULIP went to court, it wasn't a problem with, it was a problem with the environmental cleanup situation.
It was a problem with the height as well.
Oh, well, it's going forward.
Yeah. Once she gave them increase in height, it was going forward. And then it changed owners, but they kept all of the benefits from the previous owner.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, because because a lot of people are concerned about the soil there.
That's what I'm saying. They got
causing
approval to go forward, and that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Whereas when they went to court, the court overruled the people that that filed the suit.
Right.
So the cleanup plan is going forward now, and that's why I said the environmental committee needs to really be in on that and make sure that things are going the way they should. So Debbie should really get that information.
Because they think it's cancerous from the dry cleaner that used to be there.
Okay, so Debbie
All right,
will look
thanks,
into it.
Patricia.
Right, Debbie?
Yeah, I got you,
Say
Pat.
no, they're dragging you into work. They're dragging you into work.
Pat, I got you. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, so we are now going to move on to the administrative check-in. Dante, do you have a district office report?
Yeah, Fran's hand is up. I don't know if that's from prior.
Fran, did you have another question?
Okay. Well, okay. Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead with my report. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all. So Bridge Street Development Corporation is conducting CDNA of Crown Heights. We definitely would like all of the board members to fill out the CDNA. You know, this information will give us at least a preliminary snapshot of where Crown Heights as a neighborhood stands economically. Give me one second. Yes, okay, economically. The information can be found also on our website. Some weekly e-blasts have went out. It's also in our e-blast. So if you know of anyone who lives in Crown Heights, the CDNA does cover mostly Community Board 8, but it does branch into Community Board 9, I believe on Utica and on Kingston Avenue. So that information is extremely important. So if you know of anyone who lives in that area, have them fill out that CDNA. They can reach out to the board office to get that information. Next, you all should have received an email from me regarding the administrative rule changes that Borough Hall is looking to make. Their aim is to clarify Borough Hall's responsibility to community boards. Right now, this is the beginning of the process. These rule changes are introductory. This is the start of the conversations between Borough Hall and, of course, myself and the chair will continue. And once that information comes out, we'll make sure to keep you updated. Also wanted to note, I believe that Primo did earlier mention this, that the Public Safety Committee, in partnership with FDNY and the FDNY Foundation, held a fire safety table at Tivoli Towers on the 7th. It kind of worked out to our advantage. Posting the table right in front, it just seemed that there was significant foot traffic. So I want to thank FDNY for coming out to do that. I also just wanted to thank Primo for showing up, and also Ronald Banks, who serves on the committee, came out to the event as well. So I just want to thank them both for that. The bylaws revision information session is scheduled for this Thursday, January 19th, 7 p.m. That information is on our website. So anyone who's interested in attending, they can go to our website. The login credentials are already uploaded there. For the month of January, we will not be doing a public hearing right before the general board meeting. For this month, the DOT Town Hall, which will be focusing on the B41 bus project and the entire corridor itself, will be our public hearing for the month. So our public hearing will be January 30th. It will be that DOT Town Hall. I believe someone had mentioned it earlier. Please go into the Brooklyn, the DOT website. The B41 bus project, I believe, is also on our website. That information, you can go on there. I think some of the information was like a lot, so we couldn't put the PDF on there, but it will send you directly to the website where you can get the information and read it online. So definitely read that information, share it with whomever who is interested. It's extremely important that people know about the project. It's definitely going to impact, small businesses, parking along that corridor. So, this is the beginning of that process. So it's important that we make our concerns heard at the beginning and we don't wait until the end. As you probably are aware, community board applications are open until the 14th of February. We will be holding another open house, learn about your community board session on February 1st. That will be via Zoom. The login credentials are already on the website. If you know of anyone who is interested in joining the community board and has questions, direct them to the website. The information's there. Have them reach out to the board office prior to that. Next, the MTA will be holding its Brooklyn Bus Network Redesign Public Workshop for Community District 9 on February 7th at 6:30, well, starting at 6:30. To note, the MTA is hosting this workshop, not Community Board 9. So they're in control of all of it. So any questions on logging in, direct that to the MTA, but it's already on our website. If you go to our website, we have the Zoom information for the one specifically for Community District 9 added to our calendar. So anyone who's interested in participating, you can direct them to our website to get that information. Also remember, tax day in the United States is April 18th this year. We have already scheduled a free tax prep workshop in partnership with the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection on March 30th, 2023 at 7 p.m. That'll be via Zoom as well. Login for that is already on our website. Remember, April 18th is tax day. So we tried to get it late because we know how people are with the taxes. So just look out for that as we move closer to that date. Something else that you all should have received earlier today, which let me just make very clear, we don't receive notices from the city council. You just have to kind of do your due diligence on knowing when legislative hearings and testimonies are going to happen. The New York City Council committees on health, consumer and workers protection, oversight and investigations, and the Committee on Health, they're going to be holding a joint hearing tomorrow morning to discuss the proliferation of unlicensed smoke shops in New York City. Again, that's going to be tomorrow at 8 a.m. If you're interested in attending that hearing or submitting testimony, you can visit the New York City Council's website, their hearing registration, submit online testimony page. That's how you will do that information. I looked diligently. I could not find any Zoom information. So the best thing I can tell you, at least for now, is go into the City Council website, and then you'll be able to submit online testimony or maybe even go in person. But just putting that on your radar. A lot of information has been brought up today about 54 Crown. The information was sent out to the ULURP committee by the staff earlier today. I think there was some clarifications on what that exactly looks like. Ms. Moses made the clarifications earlier, so I won't go through that, but Debbie, I will be sending that out to you so you can have that for you and your committee. Anyone else who's interested in the information, reach out to the board office. I know that Primo said he lives around the corner, so he does reach out to me when he sees things happening. Keep us apprised of what's happening at developments across the district, right? We're stuck in a district office. You all see things, let us know. What we know now is that the design that's posted on the outside of the development at 54 is not what we sent to you all earlier today, right? So we have to be aware of that. Clearly there's a lag either at DOB, I don't know what it is, but there's a lag, right? We're thinking it's 8 stories, it's clearly not 8 stories, it's 2 buildings that are gonna be 16 and 17 respectively. We have to stay on top of that. So I'll be looking into that, trying to figure out why the posting on outside of development doesn't correlate with the information that we're receiving. So just keep that in mind. Also, we've been receiving some inquiries from other board members inquiring about committee meeting minutes. The board office, I know Khalid has reached out to all of you to try to get any outstanding committee minutes. Please, if you have any outstanding committee minutes, send them over to the board office so we can get them uploaded to the site as soon as possible. We're trying to clear out that the outstanding ones that we have. So all the information is accessible for members of the public. Let's see. And with that, I believe that's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. District Manager. This time we will take a couple of questions for the district manager. Ms. Baptiste, I see your hand raised.
Hello again, Dante and the whole district office. Thank you for being diligent in what you do. I just wanted to report that on Troy Avenue between Union and President Street, we do have a Link NYC tower there. It keeps saying that welcome, but it's not on completely yet. So I just wanted to let you know that it's there.
Warren, go ahead.
Hey, I gotta say, knowing that COVID emergency office with the book in terms of our Zoom meetings versus in.
Okay, so I think the question is essentially where are we going with respect to in-person, hybrid, and Zoom meetings?
Correct.
Okay. Well, right now, we're kind of in a hiatus. We're waiting to see if the city is going to extend another emergency declaration. As everyone is aware, flu's up. There's apparently a new variant for COVID. People are getting sick. So I believe that expires in the coming days. I'll have to check exactly what day that is, but typically what happens is right at expiration, I receive an email from Borough Hall typically that says that it's been extended. So I'm anticipating that email this week. Until then, there's been really no direction on if we'll be moving to in-person or hybrid. I know that other community boards and we've had these conversations as district managers, we're trying to figure out exactly what works, right? With the current way that the law is written, some people have to go in for a quorum and others don't. It's convoluted. And what we want to do is make sure that everyone who participates is safe. That's first and foremost. And so, we're still trying to receive guidance from Borough Hall, but honestly, there can't be any movement on it until the city of New York extends the emergency declaration or not.
Okay, so to sum up your answer, right now we can have Zoom meetings. And if the emergency order is extended, we can continue.
That's correct.
And I'll
Thank
have a
you.
little bit to speak to that when I get to my chair's report as well.
Oh, I thought you did that.
Nope. So you gotta stay online, Warren. You gotta stay online. You can't go on.
I am.
Uh-huh. All right, Ms. Moses, Fran, and we're gonna make the one allowance because he didn't get a chance to speak during public commentary. I do believe one of the attendees, Alex Ferguson, has his hand up. If you can promote him, he'll have an opportunity to ask.
Okay.
Dante, I think at the last meeting or whatever, I suggested that you should do a district service cabinet update to us, and you didn't do it again today. You didn't do it. So what I would like to request for the board members is a listing of who they are. I mean, who's on it, and we want to know who they are. Because at the end of the day, the board should know what's going on, and we don't know exactly what's going on in those district service cabinet meetings. Because what happens is in our meetings, people come and they say to us, this is happening, that's happening. And since you have all of the big shots in front of you, whoever the representatives, you should be able to bring some of those important things to that and report back to us. And this might be like the third time and you still haven't done that. So I got a problem with that.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Noted. And my district service cabinets, as I've mentioned before, are the fourth Tuesdays of the month. The reason I moved them is because what I noticed is when I did it at the beginning of the month, all the information that I was getting was essentially out of date by the time the general board commenced. So what I've done is moved it to the fourth Tuesday. So the information that I get the day of the district service cabinet, I'm feeding it right to the board the day of. So next week, you will have your report.
Right, yeah, because what I'm asking is that, you know, when the chairs report and, you know, people just keep saying the same thing over and over, what's the district office doing? So you could only do but so much. And I think that if you would feed the information back to us that, you know, you reported it to whoever the head was, then we'll be able to report it back, and that would be easier, in my opinion.
Of course,
Thank you.
of course.
Okay, see Fran and then Debbie Timothy.
Hi, Dante. I understand that we are still taken on to the Zoom, but I think the last time when I spoke to someone who wanted to have a meeting, and I think the 71st precinct also, there was a conflict because they wanted to use one of the dates, and the school told them no, CB9 already have that date scheduled for the meetings, but then we had a meeting online. So are you still holding those dates at the school, or are you going to release whatever dates that we had at the school for meetings?
Yeah, so, well, I guess you'll get to see how I work a little bit. I have to be ahead. So I don't know when the emergency declarations are ever going to expire. So what I've done is I've reserved the typical dates where we would have board meetings. I've already reserved those rooms at MS 61. In the event that we have to go back in person, we're compliant with the law. Typically what happens is the head janitor there will email me. We'll email back and forth. Sometimes he beats me to it. And he'll inquire if CB9 is going to be using the auditorium for that date. I let him know it's been extended. We're going to be virtual. So for this month, I think I moved that date to the 30th, just in the event that the DOT town hall needs to be in person. But yeah, typically what happens is the head custodian there will email me. I'll email him back, you know, that we're going to be virtual, and he can release that date however, you know, they do.
Okay, we see Debbie, and please promote Alex Ferguson, the attendee. I think he has a question.
Oh, Dante, this is just a question for you. Do you have a list of liaisons for the, Borough Service Cabinet
Yeah, well, I don't have
committee,
a list on
the
paper.
agencies that attend? Because it would be good to
Yeah.
provide that to, you know, the board members, so that at least they can connect with, or we can connect with that person.
Yeah,
and, you know,
I hear
have-
that. I'm certain that I sent out an email last year with the agencies that participate, excuse me, in the district service cabinet. You know, for me to be able, you know, the purpose of the district service cabinet is exactly what Ms. Moses mentioned earlier. When board members have specific issues, they're brought to the board office, and then I correspond with those city agencies. What I noticed is that, you know, when people get agency emails, is, you know, it's their right, they can have the agency emails, but information gets lost, right? Because people are having conversations that I have no clue that, you know, that they're having with an agency, and then they come back in a public forum like this, and they ask, oh, well, what's going on with X, Y, and Z, which I didn't know that was a problem, because they've had a conversation. You know, it's not an agency's responsibility to correspond directly to me, right? Like, so it's kind of like, it just causes conflict. So I humbly request that, you know, that type of correspondence go through the board office. And I've heard Ms. Moses's concerns and critiques about how I deliver the district service cabinet. And I have definitely considered and made some changes. And so, you know, hopefully we can continue that moving forward.
Because I know in the past, normally there was a liaison for those agencies. And I mean, when I was on the DOT, I know that, you know, I communicated the issues that came up at our meeting directly with that person and copied the board. So, you know, we were, you know, collaborating that way to make sure that things were being done.
Okay.
But I'm not sure whether that has changed. So that's why I'm asking.
No, appreciate the question. I'll connect with you so we can make sure that the things that are outstanding get handled. And I think you
Helps that the chair is not muted, yeah. Okay, we'll see Mr. Ferguson, and then we do need to move on.
where did?
Is he still there?
Hey, hi, guys.
Oh,
This is my first meeting. I just, out of personal interest, decided to try to join. Thank you for your due diligence. I realized that you guys said there were attendance problems on some of the committees. I just wanted to know how I would go about trying to help you guys out in any kind of way. I know that on the website, there was like a form, but the deadline was in August. So I'm in the middle of drafting up an email. If I should still send that email, just introducing myself, I guess, let me know. But yeah, I just, you know, wanted any kind of information on how it could help you guys get started. The Education and Library Board or the Environmental Protection Board. I would like to help out any way I can. So
Appreciate
Dante,
that.
get that man's number right now.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for that. So
No
go ahead,
problem.
Dante.
Yeah, I was gonna say, go ahead and fill out that form. Still
Yeah.
live, so you can go ahead and fill it out. Yeah, you know, I think we have 9 committees, so please pick any of the committees of interest. Typically what happens is, you know, if a committee chair is looking to fill some needs on their committee, you know, I'll work with them to go through the folks who have also applied for those committees, and then, you know, the committee chair can appoint accordingly. But I leave that to the committee chair. You know, they know their numbers, they know their committee, but definitely
So fill out the
that.
form.
100%.
Okay. Yep. All right. I submitted it. So we're
Yeah,
good to
fill out the form, and then also, since you might as well, on our website, the community board application is live as well. So make sure you fill out the community board application
Okay.
as well. So fill out both.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of
You're
course.
invited to the informational meeting coming up in February. So
Okay. I'll be
we'll
there.
learn
Thank
a
you.
little bit more as well. Thank you for coming out this evening and joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Warren, we'll see you, and then that's the last. Debbie, did you have your hand up again? You're muted.
No, yeah.
Okay, Warren, we'll see you, and you're the last one, and then we're gonna move on.
Okay, hi, everybody. I just want to respond to Debbie, and I say this constructively, that the only people who can speak for the community board is the chair and the district manager. And we have a system where if you have issues, especially in terms of the district meetings, is to bring them to Dante. Informally, I think that the representatives do not need X, Y, and Z comments from everybody, and it would diminish our role. So what I suggest is that if you have comments for the members of the council, is just to follow the proper procedure and bring them to Dante. And that's my comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so that concludes the district manager's report. We are now going to move on to the chair's report. I'm going to do my very best to be as expeditious as possible, but we've got a lot of things, you know, I think as we've heard through all the reports and you know, this evening, there's a lot of things going on. So that being said, we're going to begin. 1 second. Okay, so one of the pain points that I think was very apparent right off the bat, and we've talked about this a number of times, is with respect to the committees. So definitely understanding that it has been an issue for a while now. We are taking action. So we've worked with the district office. We've identified a number of members, you know, who have not been attending. So as I said before, by the end of the month, we are going to be moving to remove those. So your rosters are going to be looking shorter To the extent possible, if there's any reshuffling we can do to make sure you have strength, we'll do that. Thanks, Mr. Ferguson has joined us. So it's like, if there are other members of the community that are able to join or qualify, we're going to make sure we add them as well. But at the very least, what it does is it gets you down to fighting weight. So you're not worried about making quorum. If it's a small few of you, it's a small few of you, but at least you can get business done. So that'll be happening towards the end of the month, and we're asking for everyone. I thank everyone for their patience with this. The next item I want to talk about very quickly is the bylaws reforms. So last month we had voted to have a vote on the bylaws, the proposals for the January meeting. As part of that conversation, we also agreed to have an informational meeting where we could actually finally discuss all of the items, all the proposals. So I think that, for a number of the proposals that rationales were offered, but I think sometimes it's easier to help talk through those to kind of so that way we're clear in terms of what's meant, what's intended, and what the impact is for any of the proposed amendments that have been given. So that is going to be happening on this Thursday. So all the member recommendations have been sent out that have been submitted by the board members as of January, I believe 4th or 5th have been sent out. So we use that as the unofficial cutoff because we don't want to keep adding and adding and adding because it makes it difficult for people to be able to adjust what's there. Bylaws are something that can be done per our bylaws in terms of as long as they're presented at least 10 days prior, they can be considered by the board. So this is not a process that ends after we make any of these votes. But we wanted to make sure that at least we're able to take this in a bites, in a reasonable chunk at this time. So we can consider those for January and do as, make whatever actions is appropriate. So I'm going to very quickly, again, I think the district manager we discussed, there's a town hall for the MTA with regards to that B41 corridor, the bus network redesign scheduled for February 7th. So a lot of moving parts that we have. Please make sure we're sending out to our networks so that we can get as much input as possible. This is critical because these are not things that happen all the time. This will affect our district for years to come. So it's important that we get all those perspectives. From the borough level, for any of members who were able to actually attend the state of the borough, one of the things that was announced was a comprehensive plan that we've taught. It's a plan that the borough president is working on. This plan is supposed to discuss, it's supposed to be a plan that's developed on a borough level that talks about health outcomes. What things need to be done to affect health outcomes. Some of it is a focus on what kind of building are we doing, what kind of zoning are we doing, what kind of requirements do we have on a district by district basis. So it's very, very still early in the process. So there was a presentation that was done, a workshop I went to about a couple of months ago in December. It was announced during the state of the borough. And the next step is supposed to be district level outreach. So as soon as we get that information, we're asking for all people to, as much as possible to go and talk about what things we want to make sure are considered from the health perspective, but as well as we're talking about zoning in the district in terms of what the needs are, what are the requirements. I think it's a very important conversation for us to have because we do need to start taking stock of what do we have here and what do we need to have. So if we're talking about developments, if we're talking about green spaces, are we talking about we need more basketball courts? Do we need more tennis courts? Do we need more swimming pools? Do we need more banking institutions? Do we need more schools? What kinds of things actually make sense in terms of improving the quality of life in the district? So those will be the conversations we're having. I'm asking for everyone again to make sure we're going to those things. The district manager already talked about the new rules that Borough Hall is trying to promulgate with respect to kind of defining what support Borough Hall gives to the boards. I think it's very important. I think one of the plus sides that comes out of that is it really kind of restates the independence or autonomy of the community board. We are that basic level of government. And I would say this, candidly, I think sometimes we don't necessarily feel like that and we don't have that kind of relationship with a number of agencies. So I think there's some good things that are going to come out of there in terms of making sure that that's reinforced, that we're getting timely responses to the questions and queries that we have. So there'll be additional information. What's going to end up happening is there will actually be public commentary on that coming up at some point. I would anticipate the notice will come out probably in February. There'll be a 30-day comment period. At which point I think those rules become promulgated, but we'll provide additional information as we get that. I want to thank again the City of Yes subcommittee for the work that they're doing. That's going to be very critical in terms of there's a lot of things that are happening with that subcommittee. There's a number of text amendments that I believe may end up coming up before the ULURP at some point in the very near future. Not that I have direct information on that, but I'm speculating that because the ULURP process does take some time, and I get a sense that I think the administrator, the mayor's administration wants to move on those things quickly. I would anticipate those things will be coming down. What I look for from the City of Yes and from ULURP and from all committees is that we get into the mode of actually creating resolutions when it comes to certain issues. In terms of, we state the facts. The whereases, we state what the facts are, what the numbers are, what our role is, and then we come with a final resolution in terms of it is resolved that the city does this, the board takes this position, and so on and so forth. I think we want to make sure that we have those because they'll serve as living documents as well in terms of what the board's position is on any one specific concern. So that'll come. Yes, so we talked about it before, unlicensed smoke shops. It's really becoming a thing in the district. So with the background, so obviously the New York State has legalized the sale of marijuana through dispensaries. So anyone who's dispensing marijuana has to have a license that is given by the state. As was mentioned before, there is currently a court case, so there are no licenses being given out in Brooklyn. But what I think we are seeing is there is a proliferation of establishments anticipating that they're going to apply for licenses that have already opened up. So you see a number of smoke shops that are opening up. I think that we've also heard a number of stories where I think some of them are front running, where they're saying, well, yeah, we're going to apply for a license, but we are going to open and start selling today. So you see the back counter deals or whatever else they're doing. So I want to thank the district office. I want to thank the Office of Cannabis Management. We've had some conversations and we visited some establishments already in terms of saying, doing it, cut it out. Or if you're doing it illegally, you are definitely going to eliminate chances in terms of actually getting a license. There is a process where it's going to be very similar as was discussed, where people who wish to be licensed will have to come before the board. We're working to make sure that we're very clear on what the process is. And I think we need to have some very serious and real conversations around, if we're doing it, how we're doing it, what circumstances we're doing it, because the one thing I don't want to happen is all of a sudden Central Brooklyn becomes the weed spot of New York City. So we need to have a plan. We need to understand fully what's going on with that. I think there are some other considerations as well in terms of the law makes distinctions between marijuana plant, which contains THC, that is going to be licensed, versus products that have CBD, which is something else. It's not the chemical that gives you the high, but there are other effects with that, and that's actually regulated under other city agencies as well. So the upshot being, we're learning about this and we're trying to get the information to make sure that we can make smart policy in the district. But I would say this, I want to thank again the district office in terms of if you do know of any complaints or if you know of establishments that might be stepping on this, please make sure you let the district office know. And it goes to the point where it's like, we can't act on things we don't know about, for one. And for two, it helps the district office start to gather data around how bad a problem is. We can put numbers to it. We can say there's X amount of complaints. We can say there's X amount of smoke shops, and we can work with whatever agency is relevant, whether it be the Office of Consumer and Worker Protection, if it be the Office of Cannabis Management, or if it needs to be with NYPD. So please make sure that we're doing that, and we're going to be sharing out information as we get it as well. Again, I think so one of the votes that we're going to be having is with respect to the Diana Avenue co-naming. So that was actually seen before by the Transportation Committee, and that was approved. So that's one of those things that I think it's important. I think what we're really seeing in the district and what we're seeing across the city and in Brooklyn is really that pride and heritage. And so we've seen a number of of communities claiming that in terms of we've been here, they've been here, they've made contributions, they're part of the fabric of the city, and it's important that that's integrated into that as well. So that's something that's been proposed. The district manager has already said that because of the January MTA meeting for the 41 corridor, we're not having the public hearing in January, or at least at the beginning of the meeting. Also wanted to address one of the points with respect to electronic and hybrid meetings. So yes, just to dovetail, we are still currently working electronically. That is because the emergency order is still in effect by the mayor. that goes on a month-to-month basis. So as long as the mayor declares that there's still an emergency, we are able to do to meet electronically. And honestly, I think especially given the numbers we hear, we are not quite out of the woods with respect to all the different things. And as a matter of fact, now we're talking triple demics. And I think it's been something where we've been allowed to continue to work, but at the same time, not necessarily expose people unnecessarily to the different health hazards that are out there. It's always been a concern, especially in the winter season. I don't want board members. I think it works better to our advantage to not have board members coming out when it's dark and leaving when it's dark as well to go to wherever they're coming from. Having board members come in when they're not feeling well because of attendance concerns. I think that there are definite values to this. One of the things that we are actually considering at the borough board, amongst all the chairs of the various community boards, is Borough Hall is currently drafting a letter that we are looking to send to the state legislature and the governor, calling for them to extend the ability to be able to meet virtually and to meet hybrid. Because I think, on the one hand, we definitely feel and we miss that human connection that we're able to have when we're together. And we don't want to necessarily get rid of that, but we also want to have more tools in the toolbox. So that way, listen, we don't necessarily expose people again. We're able to work, we're able to continue to move things, but make sure everyone is safe. So there is a draft that's being currently worked. We'll definitely make sure that we share that out with the board as soon as we have a copy of that that represents what is closest to the final copy. All right, I have one last business item that we need to discuss in the executive committee. For this one, I'm going to request that we enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing removals from Community Board 9 for non-compliance with attendance policy and other issues. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go
Moved
into
by Francisco Leopold. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Christian Lubo.
Number 360 smart bed. It's temperature balanced.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I would ask all members of the executive committee. Actually, let's do a roll call vote.
I was gonna
First
say
chair-
we have to roll call. Sorry.
No worries. First chair, Warren Burke, what do you say?
Yes.
Second chair, Francisco Leopold, what do you say?
yes.
Executive secretary, Linda Watson Moore, what do you say?
Yes.
Treasurer, Christian LeBeau, what do you say?
Yes.
Member at large, Nicholas Almanor, what do you say?
Yes.
Member at large, Kyrie Aline, what do you say?
Yes.
Please record the chair votes in favor as well. It's unanimous. We are now going to enter into executive session for the purposes stated.
Hold on a second. Is it just executive? Because I know board members can listen.
Just executive assistants.
I thought board members can listen.
That would have to be voted on by the exec to allow other people. It's only the officers.
Okay, well, I'm gonna accept that, but I know it's not true, but I want to say something while you're going into the executive committee, because I already know board members can go in. I know that for a fact. But I just wanted to say, because I heard you say earlier that you said Rashid would be eliminated from my committee and a letter would come to our committee, right? Eula. But she's been placed on another committee. I mean, what kind of stuff is that? How in the world could she be placed on another committee when she has not attended our meetings? And I also checked her attendance back in terms of just attending board members. So that didn't make any kind of sense to me. And second of all, I just wanted to let everybody know that board members can attend all executive sessions. You should know that.
That is incorrect, but thank you.
That is correct, and you
It is
should
not
know
correct.
that.
No, I
It
do.
is correct.
I do, and I do, and I do. This is one of those, I do know this for a fact. Okay, but at this time, so if you could please move all those who are not officers to the attendee status. Once we are completed, we will exit and we will report on the findings of the officers.
Okay, give me a second. Believe that's it.
Dante, the participants still read 14?
One moment.
No, it says 9.
Actually, yeah, participants reads 9. Actually, Dante, if you can, please stop the recording. Okay, Mr. District Manager, has everyone been returned from the waiting room?
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to thank all those who waited. We have exited executive session. At this time, I will entertain a motion by the board, by the officers of the board, to authorize the district office to initiate removal and draft initial removal letters for those members who have had or in non-compliance with attendance requirements of CV9.
Motion.
Moved by Francisco Leopold. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Christian Lubo. Is there any discussion?
Nothing further to add on my part.
Okay, hearing none. Madam Secretary, please call the roll for the record. Oh, please do a roll call vote.
Linda, you're muted.
And this is for the vote.
I'm sorry, Kyrie. I'm sorry.
It's
Kyrie
okay.
Allen,
In favor, yes.
Nicholas Almanor,
In favor?
Fred Baptiste,
Fred Baptiste votes in favor.
Warren Burke,
Yes.
Francisco Leopold,
Yes.
Christian Lubo,
Yes, in favor.
Linda Watson Lord, yes. Mr. Chair,
All right, I hear all members voting in favor. The motion has been approved. The district office will draft letters of removal for those members in non-compliance with attendance policy, be not attendance policy. The board will be voting on those members at the February 2023 meeting, general board. Those members who receive letters will have an opportunity to address the executive committee at the next exec committee meeting in February of 23. I want to thank the members and I want to thank the district office for the work in terms of processing, and we will provide updates as necessary. Okay. All right. So at this time, we had 3 action items that we need to approve, and then we're going to approve the agenda. So we're going to try and do this very quickly. All right. So first action item is to approve a letter of support for the Merchants Association expansion on Flatbush Avenue to include Flatbush Avenue between Parkside and Clarkson, which is in the confines of CB9. Do I have a motion for that letter of support?
Motion.
Motion, I'm sorry, can you specify again
It's a letter
where
of
would
support. It's a letter of support for the expansion of the Flatbush Avenue bid to include Flatbush between Parkside and Clarkson. Within CB9.
and where does it end now?
It goes, it continues south down Flatbush, and I'm trying to remember how far down it goes.
Well, I would say more importantly for us, the northern tip of the bid is like 1 block of Clarkson. Between I think Clarkson and Parkside, maybe like it's just a block.
Right.
Yeah, so we'd be so this letter would ask to extend it by just 1 additional block?
yeah,
Correct.
yes.
Would love
Okay.
to see it all the way to Empire, but that's what we got now.
No. That's incorrect. This is not to ask the bid to extend it 1 block. The Flatbush bid is merging with the Church Avenue bid. They are merging. This is just a letter of support supporting that merger. That's it.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right. That's
Yeah,
not,
I'm down for that.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. So we didn't have the second. So is there a motion in favor? Is there a motion in favor of that merger?
So
That
made.
CB9 draft? Moved by Warren Burke. Do I have a second?
Okay.
I heard a second by Nicholas Almanor. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'm gonna call the question. Do I hear any objections? Can we approve it common consent? Any objection?
No objections.
No objection.
Move for unanimous consent.
All right, there are no objections. It's unanimous consent. Motion is approved. All right, next item I have is for recommendation of Transportation Committee on the renaming, to approve the renaming of Utica Avenue between Eastern Parkway and I believe it's Clarkson on that end on Utica to Guyana Avenue. So it was voted in favor by the Transportation Committee unanimously. Do we have a motion by the Executive Committee to forward to the full board?
So moved.
I see it moved by Nicholas Almanor. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Christian Lubo. All right, any discussion?
Yeah, I want to find out as to why, what's behind the renaming and for Guyana Way. I think it was discussed, but I was back and forth checking, on
Right.
the
I mean,
road, so I missed.
I think it's very similar to other renamings we've done. I mean, I think that there's a vibrant Guyanese community in Brooklyn who live along that part of the corridor, and they wanted to basically express that part of the heritage. And there will actually be a full presentation that was given to the Transportation Committee that will be given as well at the general board.
And
You said from Eastern Parkway to Clarkson, right?
No,
Right.
Avenue
Actually,
H.
the full extent is going all the way down to Avenue H.
Avenue H.
But the portion of which that we have jurisdiction is up to Clarkson.
Oh, this is going all the way to Avenue H. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Because I was going to tell you, past Clarkson, you have quite a bit of Guyanese shops and restaurants and stuff down that side. So
Right. But it's
okay,
only for that
but
portion.
we
that they're
just stick
asking us to
into our part of the district.
do. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we're going to call the question. Well, let me ask this. Do we have unanimous consent? Do I hear any objections?
Not on my part.
No.
Nope.
No objections? I'm hearing no objections.
No.
Okay, so hearing no objections, by unanimous consent, it's approved by the Executive Committee. It's going to go to the full board for consideration at the January meeting. Thank you very much for that. I'm sorry.
Was it the third one?
Okay, so those are the two action items that we had from the committees. At this time, we are now going to consider the agenda for the January 2023 meeting. So the proposed agenda will be, we are not having a meeting hearing. We are going to have, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to welcome, well, call to order, I'm sorry. The call to order. We are going to have presentations. We have no ULURP items for this month. We are going to have a presentation by the applicants for the street co-naming. Okay. After which we will have public commentary. Well, actually, before I continue, Dante, do we have any presentations that are scheduled for this month?
No presentations other than the street co-name.
Okay. So after that, we'll have public comment. After that, we will have acknowledgements. Then we will enter into the business session. We will have approval of the minutes. We will have, I'm sorry, committee reports. I would ask and remind again, all committee chairs to make sure they submit their reports in advance. As we had only 2 action items, all reports are for informational purposes. So let's just make sure we get that to the board so that, questions are answered. We will then have District managers report. We'll have, Chris, do you have a treasurer's report for this month, or are you going to waive it until next month?
No, I have one this month. Thank you.
Okay, we have a treasurer's report. We have the chair's report. Okay, for special orders, we will have the vote on proposed amendments for the voting session.
You can repeat that.
The
The
vote on the
special
proposed,
report? Huh?
special orders.
Mm-hmm.
Vote on proposed amendments.
Okay, cool. By law amendments?
Yes, correct. We will have the vote on Diana Avenue. The street co-naming. Vote on the letter of support. For the Merchants Association.
Correct me, was there something we talked about, when you talk about letter of support for something to do with Prospect Park?
Not yet, next month.
Not yet, that'll be next.
Okay,
month, yes.
okay.
So this will be for the Merchants Association. Thing. Okay, so after we've concluded that, then we have no old business. I don't believe. There's nothing on the table. So if there's any new business,
An adjournment.
yep, and then adjournment. Okay, are there any items that are missing from this list?
Yeah,
If I may, sorry, go ahead, Linda.
roll call.
Thank you. So yes, approval of minutes. Let's go to roll call before that.
Roll call approval of minutes, yeah. Mhm.
Yep, roll call approval of minutes. Thank you for that. Noted. Is there anything else missing?
With your, did you call you have any liquor license for this meeting?
No, not for this
one. Not for
Yeah.
this one.
Public
So
safety reported on.
because I don't know if my memory served me right, I know there was one person who had submitted who wanted a license, and we are supposed to take it back to the drawing board. Was that taken care of? I think there was some issue.
Committee didn't
Wasn't
come
that-
back with it, so.
Was there anyone for Prospect Park when we were discussing the employees and stuff like that, but then we voted on it last week? It was like sometime before. But that's the only one that was left back.
Okay, so that was taken care of.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Are there any other items to be included on the agenda? Okay, hearing none. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as stated.
Second it. I second it.
Okay, moved by Warren Burke, seconded by Kyrie Aline. Are there any questions?
I think that was moved by Nicholas Almanar, not me.
I'm sorry. Ms. Almanor, did you move it?
Yes.
Oh, my apologies. So moved by Nicholas Almanor, seconded by Kyrie. That was correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moved and properly seconded. Are there any questions?
Better not be.
Not from me.
Hearing none, we're gonna call the question then. All those in favor of adoption of the, well, actually, do we have unanimous, common consent?
Yes.
Yes.
I hear a call for
Yes.
common consent. Are there any objections?
No objections.
Hearing no objections, unanimous vote. The addenda is adopted as stated. Okay, All right then, so I believe that brings us, is there any other business for the executive committee to consider this evening? Okay,
No.
hearing none. I want to thank everyone. Listen, it's going to be a very busy year, but I'm really, really inspired by the energy and commitment of everybody coming out and all the great work we're doing. Let's just keep it up. We are in the second half. This is where we turn it up. This is where we really put the work in and really get the work done for the community. Thanks, everyone. A reminder, again, we are having the informational session on the bylaws, proposed bylaws amendments. That will be this Thursday. Please, as many of you that can come, it's going to be very helpful in terms of making sure that we're able to fully understand all the proposals that are out there. And then we
So in a
expect to
matter
have
of personal business, I just want to say that after 5 to 6 weeks of hospitalization, my husband came home Friday. He still have a long way to go. He's still very weak, you know, so just waiting for him to do therapy at home, but he's home right now. So
Oh,
just
boy,
want to
that's
let you
good
know that.
news. That's very
Amen.
good news.
Amen.
Wish him the
Amen.
best.
We're very happy
Thank you.
that he's home.
Question before we go, two things I have to say. What time will we have the bylaw amendment beginning at on Thursday?
I
7.
believe 7 o'clock. We're scheduled for 7
So
o'clock.
it will be before
Thanks,
the,
everyone.
it will be before the meeting?
Before which meeting? No, 7 p.m.
Our
Thursday.
meeting
This
is on the
Thursday.
26th, right?
Our meeting is the 26th, correct?
Oh, sorry.
The following, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, I have to apologize I am leaving the country on the 19th. That where I'm off the Bermuda for conference. I hope I'm able to get proper internet. So then I'll be able to come. If not, somebody would have to take the minutes for me. I'll try to.
No problem. Safe travels. Safe travels.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself.
It's not enjoyable. I wish they have to go.
Yep.
Still enjoy yourself. Taking a
I
trip
will
out.
try.
You want to do that?
They
Come
don't
on,
even
enjoy
give me
yourself.
time
You know
to
what you
go.
do? You log into our meeting. That's what you do.
They may never give me
I
time to
know.
go to the beach.
Linda, the last time you were in Barbados, it cost me $86 to call you on that other phone.
Oh, usually you say we have to work on a different system that free.
I know, I know.
That was
Don't
my
let him-
dad's. That was my dad's funeral, and the same day.
Don't let him guilt you because he called up a company and he had it reversed. Don't let him guilt you.
Okay.
No,
You
that's
pay
not true
$86.
because they didn't reverse it. I
didn't reverse it?
was hailed. No, but I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, get on that internet.
Okay.
I
But
will,
it
I
sounds like
will.
you're complaining though.
I mean, no, democracy, $86 is a small cost, friend.
Okay, good. Thank
All right,
you.
guys, have a good night.
Good night.
All right. Well, hold on. We will entertain a motion to adjourn. Do I have
So
a
moved.
motion? Move. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned 10:03 p.m. Everyone, thank you very much. We'll talk soon, everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Night,
you,
everyone.
Fred.
Be well.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.